crafters, it's Chris from Crafts with Chris. Don't you just love today's card? So if you are new here to my channel, thank you for stopping by. I would love you to consider subscribing to my channel. I do offer free crafting tutorials using mostly Stampin' Up products. So I would love for you to hit that red subscribe button and don't forget to ring that bell so you do receive notifications of my most current videos. Let's get started on that card. So we will be using mint macaroon as our card base. So this is 8.5 by 5.5 fold at 4 1/4. So we're going to set that to the side. You will be needing a piece of Very Vanilla. This is cut at 5 1/4 by 4. This is going to go on the inside of your card. Of course, I'm bringing in that gorgeous foil paper. This is free right now. This is cut at 5 1/4 by 4. This is the flowering foil paper. So we're going to need another piece of Very Vanilla. This was cut with the stitched shape rectangles and also a piece of sea foam green. This was cut with the same rectangles. So you're going to take the little rectangle here and cut that out with your sea foam green. Then you're going to take the 5th one in from the smallest and you're going to cut that out of your Very Vanilla. So you also will need a piece of Melon Mambo. This one here is cut approximately 5 1/4 by 4. We're going to use a die to cut out of here, and I will show you that die. It's a sneak peek of a new product coming out April 1st, so I will show you that later in the video. We're going to use 2 stamp sets today. They both are free right now. This one here is called Sending You Thoughts. So this one has a lot of great little sentiments on here. I also will be using Happy Birthday to You. So we're going to use the cake out of here. I'm going to bring in my Melon Mambo ink pad and I'm going to do my stamping first. We also will be using re-inkers in, later in the video to do some coloring. If you don't have the re-inkers, you can bring in your stamp pads and you can squeeze them right on the lid like this. And that will release color into that. So you can use this technique instead of the re-inkers. So we're going to bring in our piece of Very Vanilla. Also going to bring in our soft sea foam and we're going to do our stamping on these. So in our stamp set, Sending You Thoughts, we're going to use the Happy Birthday and Another Sensational Year of You. You could use also with a great big wish for happiness. So I'm going to bring the Happy Birthday stamp in first and I'm going to get that inked up. This is going to be stamped on your soft sea foam. Then we're going to set that aside. And with this one here, this is going to get layered on the inside of our card. So I'm going to use the Another Sensational Year of You. And I'm just going to kind of stamp that right in the middle. Just like that. I'm just going to set these aside on my card base over here. Next, we're going to bring in that piece of Very Vanilla that we had cut out of our stitched shape rectangles. Use Versamark ink. And we're going to stamp this birthday cake right in the center of this. So what I'm going to do is bring in the embossing buddy and just wipe that down because we are going to emboss. And then I'm just going to use my Versamark ink and just ink that up. So I have a scrap piece of paper underneath and I have the copper emboss powder. I'm just going to sprinkle that over the top. So then we're going to take our heating tool on setting 2, going to let it warm up a little bit, and then you're going to heat emboss that. So this is what it looks like when it's all embossed. It's so pretty, you guys. So we're going to set this aside because we will be coloring this. Bring back that beautiful flowering foil paper here. And I'm going to take my Stampin' Blend. This is the light mint macaroon. I'm going to take the paintbrush end of it and I'm just going to go ahead and color in between all of these flowers. And it's pretty easy to color because the marker pretty much stops where the flower is. And you're going to want to do this for the whole paper. Now, a tip is you don't have to color the center. You can take this piece here that we just embossed. This is going to go over the top. So wherever this lays underneath, you don't have to color. So that'll save you some time if you just want to color just around the edge here. You can also take the stitch shape rectangles, take the smaller one out of here, and cut that out of the center here, because we're not going to see the center of this paper. So you could take that and save that paper for another project if you wanted to. So either way, but we're going to go ahead, we're going to color all around here. So once your paper is colored, as you can see, I chose to not color my middle. So just make sure that your cake covers everything and there's no white showing. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to do some more coloring on this, and we're going to start to color this. So with this here, with our cake, I'm actually going to use the aqua painters. The aqua painters come in a set of 2, so you choose which tip you want. There's a fatter tip here, and then there's a skinnier tip. So I think I'm going to use the skinnier tip for this because there's a lot of detail in where I want to color. So I'm going to bring in one of my blocks here, and I'm going to use that for my re-inkers. Again, if you do not have the re-inkers, you can use your ink pads to do this. The colors with the re-inkers that I'll be using will be soft seafoam green, smoky slate, mint macaroon, melon mambo, and granny apple green. Start with my smoky slate, and you don't need much, just one little drop will do. This is going to be for the cake plate. I'm also bringing in the simple chamois, and I'm going to use this so when I change colors I can run it clear here on my pad here. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to squeeze out any water. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this, kind of spread it out so it's nice and light. I want this part of my cake, the bottom here, I want this to be fairly light. So you're just going to color that in, and the embossing really helps to keep your color where you want it. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of color that in, and then I'm going to pick up some more, and I'm going to start with the base here, and I'm going to go a little darker. And I mean, you pick up the ink and you determine how light or how dark you want it. So once we're done with that, I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to run my re-inker clear over here, and I have another Stampin' chamois that's really used here, and I'm just gonna pick up my ink off the block on that. I'm gonna take the soft sea foam, and again, just one drop. You don't need a lot of this, and this is gonna be the cake, the color of the cake here. So now I'm going to move on to my next color, which will be the mint macaroon, and I'm only going to highlight my cake here. So again, one drop will do. Just going to go ahead and follow the lines of the cake. I'm going to use the mint macaroon, and I'm just going to get the little dots here, the little balls of some of these greenery in here. I'm going to move on to our next color. I'm going to use the granny apple green now. I'm going to do all the leaves with this, and I kind of pulled some away because I don't want it so intense on the leaves. I want them a little lighter. Now our final color will be Melon Mambo, and we're going to do our flowers on the cake, and we're also going to do the flowers in our flowering foil paper. So with the flowers on the cake, what I wanted to do was create the center darker and then kind of go outside lighter. So I pick up a lot of my Melon Mambo, and I start with the center, and I just start circling my way out. You get that intense center dark, and then as you get outwards, it's a lot lighter. I'm not using any water again. I'm just picking up the ink, and I'm not squeezing my aqua painter. It'll look like this. It is so pretty when you do this. And yes, it warps a little bit, but once it dries, it kind of dries flat, and we're going to be gluing it down anyways. So I'm going to set that aside to let that dry, and then you're going to bring in your foil paper, and I'm going to do the same process with all these flowers. It is a little time consuming, but it does make a nice, very, very pretty project. So I'm just going to come in with the pink, and I'm just going to start coloring these flowers. And, you know, some of these flowers are going to be very vibrant, and some of them will be less ink on them, and it'll just give it a good variety. They're not all going to be the same shade. So you just want to go ahead, work your way around, and color in all these flowers, except for the middle, of course. And then we'll go ahead and I'll bring in the new product that you'll be able to get your hands on April 1st. Some of the product, I have some of the product, and I'll show you guys that. So when you're all done coloring your flowers, you'll see you have some light ones, some dark ones. I really love how you get the variation of color with this. So with this, we're going to layer this on top of here, but we're going to layer this piece on top of one of the new items that's coming out. It's actually going to be released April 1st for you guys to buy. It's called the Ornate Garden Suite. So there's a whole suite of stuff that you can buy, or you can purchase items separately. So here is a new stamp set that's coming out. It's called Ornate Thanks. So you have all these different sentiments on here. It is photopolymer. So I did purchase this. You also can purchase this gorgeous paper. It's the Ornate Garden Designer Series paper. So you have 12 sheets, 2 of each of these designs. And then this is the back side of your paper. So you can purchase this. Also, these gems, they're called gilded gems. I don't know if you can see them. They're really pretty. And then also there's some ribbon that's going to go along, coordinate with this set. And there are some dies. Again, these are only some of the items that will be available April 1st in the suite that you can purchase. The other item that I purchased that we will be using today are the Ornate layering dies. So these dies are so pretty. They're so detailed. You can see the flowers in there, and they have the stitching. So as you can see, there's one missing here. That is the one we use today. But these will be available again April 1st. So this is the die that was missing in that set. So before I take this off of the die, I wanted to show you guys, when you have these delicate die cuts, a lot of times these little pieces in here are very hard to get out. I do like to run this through my machine several times. I'll do it 3 or 4 times when I have the more detailed dies. Your Take-A-Pick tool here, the heads on this pop off, and there's different things that you can purchase, different heads for this. And your putty also comes out, and then you can purchase a new putty head when you need it. There's a die brush head to this. I can't find mine right now, so I'm going to use my older retired die brush, but it'll be similar to this, and it'll screw onto your Take-A-Pick tool. Now what I love about this is you just kind of go over your cutouts here, and as you can see, I have a foam matting underneath here. You will get this foam with, you'll get 2 of them actually with your die brush head. I believe they're going to be a little smaller. I think they're probably cut in half, but you just take your die brush and you just roll it over your cutouts here. And then when you pull this up, most of your die cuts will be out, but that helps get most of those die cuts right out for you. So there's only a few left. You can use your fingers to kind of get that, or you can take your Take-A-Pick tool and just poke those out. So very simple to get out. But this is the other die. So this die here we're going to use on our project. Isn't this die so pretty? I'm just going to bring back in all my pieces, and we're going to start to assemble the card. So I'm going to use my Very Vanilla here, and we're going to put that on the inside of our card. And I've just used some snail adhesive to put that on your card. For the front of your card, you're going to just layer this again with some snail adhesive. So now with this guy, I'm going to bring in my liquid mono glue. And I actually just learned this trick last weekend with Stampin' Up's Stampin' Party that they had. This I filled with hot glue on the bottom to hold the cap in there. So it looks like that. I just used some plastic cups. They use Solo cups, which seem to work better and not melt. My first cup kind of started to melt, so I put another cup underneath. But there's your cap, and then when you run out, you just switch your caps out. And then this will keep your glue standing, and it'll keep your glue down at the bottom, so you're not always trying to shake it and get it down there. It'll be at ready when you go to use it. So I'm just going to use this liquid glue and put this on the very vanilla one that we colored. Because it is a little warped, I want to make sure it dries flat. Now when you put this on here, it does not line up perfectly, but it gives it enough of an edge to where you can see on the back here. You can see where it doesn't line up perfectly, but it still looks pretty cool on this frame here. So you just want to glue that down. And I know you guys don't have access to this yet, but in less than 4 days, you'll be able to purchase this. And if you wanted to make this card, it's beautiful without this frame, but you're going to want to get your hands on this. I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to use some snail adhesive to glue this down to the front of my card. I'm going to go ahead and just cover up that white part there, or if you had cut that out, you just want to cover that spot. Just like that. Isn't that card so pretty? Look at how pretty that card is. So then the last thing we're going to do is your piece of soft seafoam green here. I put some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals on it, and you can either pop it up on the front down in the corner or up in the top, which I think I'm going to do it right up there. So look at how pretty that card is. And then your inside, of course, has your sentiment in there. So this paper here is free underneath here with the flowers. Your stamp set of the cake is free. This stamp set is free. So there's a lot of free products in here. You have 4 days, well, actually less than 4 days to get your hand on these free products. So again, here's just a handful of the items that are going to be released April 1st. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's project, and I hope you guys are all staying in, staying safe, and staying healthy. Please subscribe below, and don't forget to ring that bell. I also offer a newsletter that I would love for you to sign up for. You will get 30 free card ideas just for signing up. Thanks for watching.